apple trees. Every year, my three sisters and I would go to my grandmother's house during summer to meet up with our many, many cousins. One year, when I was really little, my grandmother decided to buy apple trees. My sisters and cousins got to climb on them, but my mom told me I was too small. So I watched my mom, aunts, uncles, and grandma as they took pictures of all the kids in the apple trees. And I longed for the day when I would get to join them. Grandma always said there wasn't as much happiness in her home as when she saw her grandkids climbing her trees. In the fall, my grandma picked the apples on her trees and made the best applesauce in the world. She always said it was the best applesauce because the trees had so much love from her grandkids climbing in them that it just grew into the apples. That winter, a storm blew from the west, and the trees sunk their roots into the soil, standing strong against the winds. I hoped that when we returned to Grandma's house in the summer, I would be big enough to climb the trees. The next summer came, and we drove to Grandma's house. The trees had grown, so had I. I'd been practicing climbing all summer long, behind my mother's back, and I decided that I should bring my best climbing shoes. But when we got there, Mom told me I was still too small to climb the trees with my cousins and sisters. So I sat inside and ate Grandma's applesauce, imagining the joy that would come next year when I would finally get to climb the apple trees with my family. And I watched my mom, aunts, uncles, and Grandma take pictures of all my happy relatives. And I waited and waited for the next year to come. That winter, the wind blew from the west, and the trees sunk their roots into the soil, standing strong against the storms. And my sisters and I played in the snow, making snow angels, and patiently waiting for summer when we would visit our grandma once again. The summer came, and the trees had grown bigger. I asked my mom if I could go play with my cousins outside. It was the answer I had been waiting for. Yes! So I ran as fast as I could to make the long-awaited climb. It was better than I had ever imagined. The trees were so strong, they could hold all 9 of us kids in their branches. I finally got to be in the picture that my mom, aunts, uncles, and grandma took. That winter, the wind blew from the south, and the trees that had remained strong in the past storms fell over. The wind had always blown from the west, so their strongest roots were not ready for a storm that came from the south. I had never seen my grandma so sad. Her apple trees had fallen to the ground, and she didn't think she would have another picture of all of her happy grandchildren who put all the love into her apples the coming year. The spring came, and we drove to my grandma's house early. My sisters and cousins had to play indoor because there were no apple trees to climb. My uncles went outside to the apple trees and looked at all of them. I watched from the window as they lifted a tree up, making its roots grow back into the soil. They put a strong post beside it and tied the tree to it so it wouldn't fall back down. They slowly went to each tree and carefully brought the orchard back to life. That summer, my grandma took a picture of her 2 sons standing in front of her rebuilt orchard. The winter came, and my grandma watched as the wind blew from the west, hoping her trees would stay strong against the storm. When we got the call to come up that summer, we knew her apple trees had survived the harsh winter. Now, every summer, we drive to my grandma's house and climb on the same apple trees, so my mom, aunts, uncles, and grandma can get a picture of all their happy grandchildren in their favorite trees, knowing that they stand strong and will never fall down again.